Hello, I hope everyone had wonderful holidays. I have to apologize for not making any of these for a while, as my computer died, and it's within warranty, so it's sent back to be repaired, but that's going to take a while. So I'm currently now using another computer, but it took me a while to get everything set up. Hopefully now we will have at least a little bit more regular videos for people to learn from. On our last video on various halachic issues today concerning a woman who used to be a man, I received many comments in many different formats asking for more clarification, more discussion on this issue. So the next few of these videos will be on different points that are related to it until we can bring them all together for some final conclusions. The first thing I want to discuss is ילבש. There is a prohibition of, well, let's look at the psuk first in דברים. לא יהיה a גבר על אישה. The tools of a man will not be found on a woman. ולא ילבש גבר שמלת אישה. And the man will not wear the dress of a woman. Because it's an abomination for the Lord your God, anyone that does these things. Tועבה, is a very, very strong word, abomination. Now, whenever I look at a psuk in Chumash, instinctively I look at Rashi, and Rashi says, why shouldn't a man wear a woman's clothing? Dome לאיש, because a woman shouldn't wear a man's clothing, because then she'll be similar to a man. שתלך האנשים, and that way she'll be able to assimilate herself among men. שאין זו אלא לשם ניאוף, and the reason for her wanting to do this is adulterous in nature. ולא ילבש גבר שמלת אישה, and the man will not wear the dress of a woman. לילך ולישב הנשים, so that he can go and be among the women. Another thing, yashir sa'ar הערוה ושער השחי. The man shouldn't shave either the pubic area or under the arms, because this is the way that women do things. Because it is an abomination. The Torah prohibits those things that bring us to an abomination. So anything that would bring us to a situation of inappropriateness would therefore be prohibited. The Ibn Ezra says something very different on this, very important. And so he says about this psuk, "V'zeh yore ki minhag Yisrael haya." This shows us that the custom of Israel is ki b'robe malchios lios levushim hanashim enu kimalvush hanashim, that in the vast majority of the kingdoms of the world, the way men dress is not the same as the way women dressed. Rak hefresh b'neihim, there is always a difference between them. Rak Hashem yita'ev mish yishne maaseh Hashem. God finds disgusting and abominable someone who changes the deeds of God. And this is a little bit explained further in the Rekanati on our pasuk. Amnam, al derech HaKabbalah yesh lecha ladas. What, based upon our received traditions, one should know on the Kabbalistic tradition, ki remez hu shelo yishne seder bereshis, that it is hinted to us that we should not change the way God created the world. God created the world in a certain way, and it's supposed to be this way, and we're supposed to guard the way Hashem made it and not try and change God's creation. There are certain times, obviously, we're told to do something with God's creation, but we don't go out and change the nature of what God created. So there are two mitzvahs, and both of them are in the Sefer Chinuch and the Sefer Mitzvahs of the Rambam and the various other Sefer Mitzvahs. First one, of course, is based upon the order of our psukim. Lo klei gever alisha, that a woman should not wear a man's clothing. So the Sefer HaChinuch, Parshas Kitetse, where our mitzvah occurs, in the 542nd mitzvah in the Torah, Shelo ta'adei isha adei ish, the woman should not adorn herself with the adornments of a man. So how does the Sefer HaChinuch explain this? Shelo yilbosh hanashim lebushe ha'anashim, the woman should not wear the clothes of the men. V'lo yizdainu b'zivanam, and she shouldn't literally arm herself with his armaments. V'al zeinamar, and on this it says, Lo ye klei gever alisha, the tools of a man should not be on a woman. Perisha kasuv b'klei zayin. So that what the Torah is talking about is weapons of war, weapons. The woman should not wear weapons. And what does he say? Lefi shehem hakelim hamiyuchadim legever legamre la'anashim. These are things that are unique to men, completely, entirely. She'en derech isha ba'olam letzeis b'klei ziyun. Because it's not the way of a single woman in the world, the Sefer HaChinuch says, to go out with weapons of war. Now today we have this movement of having women being allowed to serve in combat units and so on. According to the Sefer HaChinuch, this is an absolute perversion. And basically the pasuk says that a woman is not supposed to wear the weapons of a man, these things that are for a man. Sefer HaChinuch is saying this is the essence of something that is male in nature, as we have in Chumash Bereshis. Peruvu meluas haaretz v'kivshuha, you will be fruitful, malto, you fill up the land and conquer it. And we learn it is the nature of men to conquer, and therefore it is the first part of the pasuk of the mitzvah Peruvu, being fruitful and multiply, only applies to men and not to women. So the Sefer HaChinuch continues. Mishar shei mitzvah. What is the root of this mitzvah? The roots of this mitzvah. L'archik umosenu hakadosha davar erva. So that we remove very far away as possible from our nation, our holy nation, a matter of lewdness, a matter of nakedness. V'chol inyan v'kol tzad yeh hakishalon ba'oso davar matzui b'tochel. And any matter or side or something that could bring us to be mistaken or trip over anything of this nature. Kolomar, that is to say, Shalavasenu hirchikanu min hazima. Because of God's great love for us, he tried to remove from us any type of lewdness. Shidavar mechur biyoter. This is something that is unsightly in the greatest degree. Vikach lev hadam umidichu miderach hatova. It takes the heart of a man and it washes away from him the good path. Umachshava retzuya, and desirous thoughts. L'derech ra umachshava shel shtus, and it takes him to an evil path and silly thoughts, or stupid thoughts, or crazy thoughts. Shtus can mean all of those. Dinei mitzvah ktsarim. The laws of this mitzvah are very short. And within the very simple meaning of the text, one can understand them. Meaning, the fact is, as lo ye le gever alisha, that a woman shouldn't wear the things of a man. Simple, it's done. V'noheg isur b'kol makom b'kol zman b'nekevos. This mitzvah applies in every place and every time to women. Visha hoveres alzei, and the woman that transgresses this mitzvah, v'lavsha lushim hamiyuchadim b'nashim, and she wears the clothing that is unique to men. Levad ba'oso makom shehibo, that where she is, meaning in this place, and that women do not wear this, but men do. Chayeves malchus, then for that she gets lashes. For the second of the two psukim in our parsha, The Sefer Chinuch says, and this is shelo yadei ish adei isha, that a man shouldn't wear the woman's adornments. Shelo yilbsh hanashim lebusha hanashim, that the men should not wear the clothes of women. V'al zeh nemar, and this it says, lo yilbsh gever simlas isha, a man should not wear the dress of woman. Mishar shei mitzvah mashikasu b'mitzvah. Kademas, the roots of this mitzvah are what we wrote previously, that it's to separate men and women into their holy camps, so that we do not come to any type of sexual perversion or change of the nature of the world. Dinei ha-mitzvah, what are the halachas of this mitzvah? Masha amru zichronim levracha, that which our rabbis have said, shein ha-iser ve'amalkus bilvush levad, that this prohibition and the lashes for violating this prohibition are not limited to clothing alone. Tuadin b'tikun shelahem. This is for other ways in which they fix that. Women prepare themselves. Shkolam mitakin atzmo b'tikuni hamiyuchedes nashim chayev malchus. Anyone that adorns themselves, fixes themselves up in a way that is done by women, is liable lashes. Kolon hamalaket saros levanos mitoch shchoros. Someone that would pluck the white hairs from among the black hairs. Mirosho or mizikno, either from his head or from his beard. Or someone that dyes their hair in the way that women dye it. And this is how Unklis translated the pasuk. And the man should not prepare himself in the way that women prepare themselves. And we may come back to this as we're discussing more of these halachos later on, and what can be implied from the way that Unklis translated this pasuk. Remember, every translation is included within it a commentary. This halacha applies in every place, in every time to men. And anyone who transgresses and dresses themselves in the dresses of women, or or prepares himself in the way that women do, as we've talked about, cutting hairs, shaving certain parts of the body that women shave, or according to some poskim, all the Rishonim, there are some poskim today that say it no longer applies for a man to look in a mirror. Chayev malchus, one is liable lashes for these things. So this is one of the important mitzvahs that deal with the relationship between men and women. And today, a shaila comes up from time to time. I haven't seen anyone that's written on it yet, although I have heard many poskim discuss it orally, many gedolim discuss it orally, that you have a woman that dresses as a man, or a man that dresses as a woman, and they come to an orthodox shul. Which side of the mechitza should they sit on? And it seems some poskim refuse to answer this, say you can't address such an issue. Others say, and this seems to be the broadest consensus, although as I said, I haven't seen anyone that's written on it yet, so I can't go into depth as to the rationale, but it does seem that most poskim, rabbanim, will say that they should be on the side that matches the way they're dressed. They may be violating this Torah prohibition of dressing improperly, but as long as they are dressed improperly, that it would be more of a problem for them to be on the side of the mechitza where they're dressed, where their dress would be inappropriate. The problem that I see with this is that the prohibition here, as we've seen from Rashi to the Sefer Chinuch, is that we don't want a woman going, that when you dress in the opposite gender's clothing, the prohibition was to prevent you from going among people of the opposite gender. And so it would seem that this Pesach is in fact allowing that. Nonetheless, that seems to be the most broadly accepted position today, but this is a very new shaila, and it generally takes some time for new shailas to go back and forth a little bit until a final consensus is reached. Everyone should have a very good day.